What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. This is Leo's Nerd Talk, and today we're going to be talking about The Accountant 2. So let's get into that. Hi, my name is Leo, and if you guys like talking about the movie, TV show, video game related, or just anything nerdy, you have come to the right place. And like I said, today we are talking about The Accountant 2. So without further ado, let's get into the review. Now, The Accountant 2 is for some a long-awaited sequel where Ben Affleck returns as the accountant, who is someone who, of course, has autism spectrum disorder and has some sort of special ability that makes him ultra focus on certain tasks. Super smart, is very savvy with numbers and detective work and trying to figure out puzzles and things like that. And that helps him try to find his target, be a great assassin, as well as just be a great help to anybody that needs it. Now, this story kicks off with J.K. Simmons' characters trying to reach out to someone to help find a family that he has some sort of connection with, and him basically getting assassinated and having Christoph Wolf, the accountant, being called out from hiding to try to help them find this family and try to figure out who is behind all these killings and who was behind killing J.K. Simmons' character. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get straight into my pros. For me, I just love being back in this role with Chris and Brax being kind of that fun brotherly love dynamic, or we get that a little bit later in the movie, but starting off with Chris and just him being that ultra smart focused person and how he's so meticulous about everything. I love how Ben Affleck portrays his character. I think it's just a very unique idea, and for some people this was maybe a movie that we didn't really necessarily needed, but I'm glad that we got it because I think it just opens up a world of movies that you can have within the accountant universe. There's so many different scenarios that you can put Ben Affleck's character in that needs his abilities to try to figure out certain things or try to assassinate a specific target or whatever the case may be. So I just love being in this world. I love being around this character. I think he has such a unique ability. It's such a funny type of character where he's so monotone with everything that he does. He's so meticulous about everything, and it just makes for very entertaining, fun moments with his character. For someone who's supposed to be this ultra focused killer, in a sense, he just has such a charming aspect to him. So I really enjoy Ben Affleck's character and how he portrays this person, and he went straight back into this role without any issues. He portrayed exactly the way he did in the first movie. So I think he did a fantastic job in this movie. I love being around this character. I think he's such a unique, fun character to be around. And then, of course, we have John Bernthal's character as his brother, as Brax, who I think is just such a great counterpart, where he's so more just hyper and just literally the complete opposite. He's so outgoing, so outspoken. He's very aggressive in certain things, and I think it just counters each other so well. Where you have very, very great moments in the movie between them two, where you have this really unique brotherly love, and I just really, really enjoyed them in this movie. I think they executed their brotherly love way better in this one than they did in the original film, where again you just have so many great moments between them, so many great moments as just their character work and their growth between each other and their relationship, and just having really funny moments where you finding yourself just laughing and smiling in certain moments. And then when you get in later on to the movie where they're just working together to figure out what's going on, and you have all the different action sequences, the different stunt performances and all that stuff, it just becomes a super epic movie. And I love John Bernthal as an actor, so seeing him in this movie again was absolutely a pleasure for me. And just seeing them go to action, I think he did very, very well. And for the most part, I enjoyed the plot that we had here, where you have this family who seemingly has this really weird kind of thing going on with them, where you have this woman that lost her husband and son and doesn't know where they are, but she's kind of brainwashed in a sense, and she's kind of like a person with special abilities as well because of a certain accident that happened to her, so that she's kind of involved in trying to figure out what's going on, but she doesn't know who she really is as of yet, until you figure out later on in the movie what how her involvement is in it, and how you have Chris and Brax trying to find this family for this detective that was in the original movie that seeked the accountant's help and stuff. So it's a very fun, unique, I want to say unique, a very fun plot and a very intense plot, and can definitely go to some dark places for sure, especially the subject matter of like human trafficking and things like that. But it ends up being kind of simple, and that's okay. I enjoy the simple aspect of this movie. It kind of feels like if The Accountant was a show, this was like an episode within a show. It had a very simple plot, but it was fun, it was entertaining, and still could go to some kind of emotional aspects of it, of basically because of the subject matter at hand. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get into my cons. And piggybacking off of what I just said, the movie again does feel like a episode within a show of The Accountant. So it doesn't feel like the plot has a very heavy weight to it. And again, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but I would have expected for a movie that's taking this long to make a sequel to have a little bit more meat to the bone. And then secondly, you Detective Medina, which I felt like her use in this movie was pretty much pointless. The only thing her involvement in this entire movie was really just introducing the case to Chris's character. And beyond that, I felt like she really had no purpose in the film. And I felt like she was kind of just second handed this role just because she was somewhat involved in the first one as well. So to me, I felt like if you remove her character completely, it doesn't change anything within the plot. And because we're focusing more so on Chris and Brax's character trying to solve this. And the only purpose, again, that she had was introducing Chris to this case in the first place. And lastly, like our main villains in this movie didn't really feel significant at all either. Again, like I said, this does feel like it's an episode within a show. So you have a villain that isn't necessarily memorable. Again, the subject matter and what they're doing is absolutely awful and terrible when it comes to the conversation of like human trafficking and things like that. But the actual person doing it itself isn't really a memorable villain, or the group, I should say, doing it isn't really a memorable group. It's a lot of uh, people that you could just they're dispensable. You know, they come and go, and our main focus is on our main characters, Chris and Brax. You don't really worry about anything else. You know, you obviously care about them, you care about the kid that we're trying to find, but beyond that, I felt like every character on the side really didn't have a purpose or meaning of really being there. And you have characters that are forgettable in the shadow of Chris and Brax's character because they're so charming and such a dominant presence within this movie, where you have two A-list actors that everyone else just kind of fails in comparison. But overall, I thought this movie was pretty entertaining, pretty funny. I love the brotherly love between Chris and Brax's character. So for me, as a sequel, I actually found it to be a little bit better than the original one. I do enjoy both movies. I do think that you can do more things within this universe. But overall, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was fun. Had some issues, of course, throughout the way, but overall, I would recommend taking a look at it in theaters. But that's gonna be it for this one, guys. If you guys like talking about the movie, TV show, or video game related, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Thank you.